Today's podcast is brought to you by StrongHeartAcademy.com, where no heart is no victory. We are also brought to you by BJJ to go. If you want to build your game and learn Jiu-Jitsu, go to bjjtogo.com. Hi, I'm Professor Mike Martin from Strong Heart Academy. I'm a third-degree black belt under Kyle Terra. Today I'm going to talk about what parents should expect when their kids are going to try a mixed martial art class. So I talked previously about what adults should expect in a class, but what are the parents should expect, okay? At my school, we have a separate mixed martial art striking class just for striking, okay? So there's going to be some gear that you're going to have to think about. We require headgear, shin guards, and boxing gloves. Everyone wants the MMA gloves. We can work into that. First, we like to start with boxing gloves. I like 16-ounce gloves, even for kids. They are going to be heavier, but they're really going to protect the hands, and learning just proper striking off of that, protect their hands, and wraps. A cup and a mouthpiece. So those are the main gear that you're going to need. A gear bag helps with all that kind of things as well. Make sure you have a nice water bottle. These are all the things, and at my gym academy, we used to say you need to buy our equipment, but I've got away from that. But that's because I want good equipment. When you're doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, the gis are gi. Even a cheap gi is still gi. It's not going to be an unsafe thing. But in striking, bad gloves can break your hands. Bad shin guards can hurt someone. Bad headgear, same thing. So we want quality gear. I don't like Everlast. I like Tidal is a nice stuff. You should be spending about $50, $60 on each piece of equipment. And that's going to protect your kids. We want to protect your kids. This is not something that you want to go cheap on. With the gis, I have certain brands. I'll tell parents, get this brand. It's cheap but good. There's no need to get crazy with the gis, the uniforms, but with striking gear is a little bit different. We want to protect our kids. We want to make sure they're not getting injured. This is a sport of contact. So also understanding it's not going to be like karate where we're punching in the air. We're going to do shadow boxing, but at a certain point we will be sparring. Okay, so kids will be hitting kids. And, it's great because they're going to learn sportsmanship and understand, we don't just go out and hit people, and understand how to control your temper when you're getting hit. It's a non-emotional thing. It's almost a mechanical thing. You have to think, but not emotionally. An emotional fighter is not a good fighter, in my opinion. And I think it's great for kids to learn, but understand that it is going to be contact. They may get a bloody lip. They may get a bloody nose. Most likely not a broken nose because they don't have the power yet to produce broken things. They're going to be hitting bags. They're going to be hitting pads, mitt work, and sparring, and then shadow boxing. Those are the main things that we do at my academy for striking, to teach the striking, teach the footwork, how to move properly, how to have a good stance. The cool thing about striking is so much can be done on your own. Once you learn certain things, you can work a bag by yourself at home. You can work in a mirror, shadow boxing and footwork. There's ladder drills that you can put on the ground, kind of like football, where you can do footwork drills, and you don't need a partner. Now, when we start sparring, you need a partner. In Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so little can be done on your own. You need the feedback of a partner to learn Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or submission grappling. So striking is going to allow your kids that they can practice on their own. And I would encourage parents to tell their kids that, every day we need at least 5 minutes of practice, up to 30 minutes of practice. An hour is a little much. They can run on their own. They can do jump rope on their own as far as the physical fitness required to spar and to be in shape for striking. But it's not like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu where, again, you probably need mats at your house. And I have plenty of students that have mats at their house, and the kids practice at home or in the garage. They might have a room dedicated for it, or the parents even practice, same thing. And that's awesome, but that is a more bigger commitment. You have to have a room in your house to do that. Where striking, you could even hang a bag in a tree, and it's out of the way. As long as you have a nice bag, you can work a bag. Even if it's not a banana bag, the long bag for kicks, even a traditional boxing, you can do a lot of practice on that. And then a mirror, you can shadow box. Even in the bathroom, we don't need a lot of room just to move, head movement, hand movement, and practice movements. Like you want to be smooth. The smoother you can and more relaxed. We're going to be teaching that in class. So the things I would look out for as a parent is make sure that your school doesn't just have like 60 bags hanging and they only stay on a bag. That's like a cardio kickboxing class. They stick you in front of a bag and go, okay, now jabs, okay, now crosses, and they never learn how to move with someone. So, the bag never moves. You can move around a bag, but it never moves and it never strikes back. So you're only learning a small fraction of what really is necessary to train. As far as like the grappling aspect, making sure that they're doing jiu-jitsu, incorporating and maybe some wrestling too, to make sure they're understanding takedowns and defending takedowns, because that's part of mixed martial arts. We're mixing different martial arts together. That's what that means. Beware of a academy that says we train UFC. That's kind of a joke in the industry of like, UFC is a brand of mixed martial arts. It is not a thing in itself. Okay, so it's just mixed martial arts, MMA, mixing different martial arts together, and it's not a specific brand like UFC. Now, UFC had UFC gyms at one point, and they mostly went under. There might be a few out there still. I don't know any in the Valley anymore, but where they taught these various things, but you would never say, I'm doing UFC. That's kind of a goofy thing to say. I'm doing mixed martial arts or striking or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Those are all separate things you can do separately as well, not just together. But if your kid wants to learn mixed martial arts, it should be multiple things, learning these various skill sets so that they can put it together to learn mixed martial arts. And sparring is important, I would say, if you want to understand how to put these things together. Now, sparring is also important that coaches are watching so that they can tone the level. We don't need to be going crazy, all out, trying to knock each other's heads off. And even for adults, that's important, having a coach around to control the level of sparring so it doesn't get out of hand. Because it's very easy in sparring that my 30%, if we're going really light, 30%, and then your 30% is different. Maybe you weigh more than me. Maybe you hit harder than me, and you're like, this is my 30%. And I'm getting hit. I'm like, you're hitting me at 80%. Then I'm going to up it. And then we just keep upping until we're just blasting each other. And a lot of guys, professional mixed martial arts, are sparring less and less and less because they're worried about the injuries that happen when you're sparring. Now, if you're going to fight professionally, you do need to get some sparring in that's a little bit more aggressive, just so when you get hit, you're not surprised that it could drop you when you get hit. And don't get lazy, but keep your hands low. It keeps you honest. Sparring keeps you honest, that you really know what you're talking about. I've had students that they came in and they showed me on a bag, they're just like destroying this bag. Ba, 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 ba. I'm like, wow, that's impressive. Like, okay, let's spar. And then once they get hit, they just crumple. They just can't handle being hit. So it's important that you understand what it's like to get hit. It's not the end of the world, but it can confuse you. It can make you shell up. It can make you give up. It can make you turn your head away. Things that you're not supposed to do. But until you're in it, Mike Tyson used to always say, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. Is that you can be awesome on a bag, but once you get hit, that changes things. It changes the expectations of how this is going to go down. And just like when I was a kid, you would see Michael Jordan dunk a basketball, and you're like, oh, I could do that. And then you realize it's 10 feet tall. The basket's 10 foot tall. As a kid, I'm 5 foot. It's going to be hard to dunk a basketball. They make it look easy. And the same thing in mixed martial arts. If you're watching a UFC and you're like, man, these guys make it look so easy. even if you see them bloody, you just don't, your brain doesn't always go, oh, okay, yeah, that might happen to me as well. So sparring helps keep you honest and understand what could happen in when you're sparring, and just being honest for kids. And I find kids that train are way less likely to bully people, way less likely to fight, because they understand the ramifications of this, and they train hard. And, I've heard a professional fighter before go, well, I never get in fights. Like, I get paid to fight. Why would I fight you for free and go to jail possibly for assault, So they understand that, it's a sport, and it's not to just go around hurting people. That's not the goal here. So they can get into the sport. You can spar in Muay Thai fights for kids and boxing, but there's no mixed martial arts for kids like tournaments. It's generally going to be at 18. So, that you can go to other gyms and maybe possibly spar in MMA. It's not done very often. Okay? But they can go and do some sparring as far as like kickboxing. It's also they're padded up and they're ready to go. But it's not going to be like karate where it's like I hit you and I don't even hit you hard. I just tag. It's like tag karate or taekwondo. I tag you and then we break, and they go, that's a point. And I go, okay. And then we go again. When you spar, you're in the sparring until the round is over, or until someone says, hey, I don't want any more, I'm done. And then hopefully a coach is standing by saying, hey, you're hitting a little hard. Let's pull back a little. We don't have to hit so hard. We're just sparring. It's a friendly sparring match. It's not the championship bout in UFC, okay? So those are important, that your coaches are making sure that your kids are safe, but also they're not babying them so much that they don't have a real expectation of what this is. So those are the things I would say to look out for. Great way to keep your kids off of screens. Great way to keep your kids in shape. Great way for your kids to have confidence in themselves, to defend themselves if they had to, or their brother or sister or family members. And I always say idle hands is the devil's playground. So keeping kids busy with a positive thing is never a bad thing. Okay? Keeping kids active is great for their minds and great for their bodies, and keeps them out of trouble. It's hard to be in trouble when you're just always busy. So I hope that helps you guys, and have a great one. Peace.
Let me talk for just a second, help me feel that sense of rhythm. Find the meanings in our bearings and discover this position as a stage along the way. Another rung to the ladder, either stalling or you're climbing, and I'd rather beat the ladder. Instead of getting fatter, let the footsteps resume naturally.